Hi, welcome back. I'm Alyssa, and this week's video I am going to share a few parenting lessons that I am taking into baby 2 and 3. We are expecting twins in about 2.5 weeks. I have a scheduled C-section at 38 weeks if I don't go into labor before then. Right now, the way I'm feeling, would prefer to go into labor and just get it over with. I'm quite uncomfortable, but nonetheless, that's only 2.5 weeks away from a final end date, which is just crazy to me. So this may be my last video for a while, depending on how things go. I've been reflecting on a few things that I learned through the baby stage of my first child and things and the lessons that I'm going to take into the next two. Now, these aren't lessons as like that were super specific to our son. These are more generic lessons for me and my own personality. I hope they're an encouragement to you and get you thinking about some of these things as well, what you've learned through your first child or what you can be preparing for your first baby or first two babies if you're having twins. And while I talk to you today, I'm going to be making some lactation protein balls. They're actually a family favorite for just a regular snack, but I found the recipe when I was breastfeeding my son. And so I'm preparing for the birth by getting a bunch made ahead of time. They freeze really well and they're just so tasty. So I'm gonna do a little multitasking today. So the first lesson that I have for myself is always smile and have a gentle voice when I go to get my child up from either sleeping through the night or in a nap. Now, this may seem obvious, like why wouldn't you be happy to pick up your child and why wouldn't you greet them with a nice warm smile? Well, in the craze of newborn life and in the craze of sleep training and just all the things like trying to get a kid on a schedule or teaching them how to stay in their crib through the night or whatever the case may be, I found that it was really easy for me to be frustrated, disgruntled through that whole process. And I would sometimes come in to my son's room and get him up from a nap and she'd be like, oh, why are you awake? Kind of this attitude I had, and I didn't necessarily always greet him with a happy, warm smile or a kind voice. And so I regret those moments and have learned from my mistake. So I am now when that happens, I try to take a few minutes before I go in to just calm down my frustration, my nerves, and then make sure I can go in with a happy face. I was really convicted of this when we were going through one of our difficult sleep phases and just realized that this little kid knows me as mom, loves me, sees me as the safe, comforting person. And if I were to always have a frustrated face whenever he woke up from his nap, that would just send, a wrong message that doesn't bond us like always a warm, welcoming smile and voice would. And so in saying this, I'm not saying it's not okay for me to be frustrated that something's not going the way I wanted it to, although that is an attitude problem that I do want to work on as a parent, because that is kind of what parenting life is like. You aren't always going to get what you want. Things aren't always going to go your way. You're not fully in control of everything like you think you should be or want to be. And so all that to say, with training a child to do a certain thing or to get on a schedule of some kind, there is just naturally frustrating moments. And so it's okay to feel that way, but I just wanted to make sure that when my child and how they interacted with me was not frustrated, disgruntled look every time they got up from their nap. The second lesson I'm taking with me is for me to ask for forgiveness when I know I've wronged them or when my attitude towards them isn't what it should have been. This is actually kind of goes along with some advice that we got in our marital counseling, premarital counseling, which I think was some of the best advice, is whatever culture and atmosphere that you and your spouse have before you bring kids into it, that culture will be the air that they breathe when you do bring a child in. So if you have a normal culture in your home and in your marriage of asking for forgiveness from each other quickly and accepting forgiveness, receiving forgiveness, handing it to someone when it's needed, that's just going to be the air that the child will breathe. And so you can take that, or I've taken that into parenting, because I'm not a perfect parent, not a perfect mom, and I don't want my son to think that I should be perfect, because I'm not. But I want him to know what asking for forgiveness looks like, how to receive forgiveness from someone, or how to receive forgiveness from someone when you've been wrong, when you've wronged them, and then how to hand out forgiveness graciously and generously to other people, because that's what Christ did for us. And so if that can be in the home, that'll be one of the most positive things that a kid can experience. The next lesson I'm taking with me is to remember that everything is a phase, whether good or bad. So there are going to be frustrating moments with babies, with toddlers, my son is only 2. I have only been a mom for 2 years, but I can already see that there are some things that are literally just phases, that it will pass, for the good and the bad. For an example, the kids being mobile. That is frustrating sometimes when you have, you've got a kid that you have to hold all the time, or you can't be left alone for anything. But then it's also precious when you realize that once they're mobile, your life pretty much changes, and everything is, you're always watching where they're going. You've got to safety-proof the house. There's just, every phase has a good and a bad thing, and every phase will come and pass. So I'm trying to remember that going into baby 2 and 3, with the sleeping, the breastfeeding, all the things that come with having a newborn. Those are really precious moments to cherish, because it doesn't last forever. Kind of goes along with my next one, which is not to worry. So this is obviously more easily said than done, but kind of like what I just explained with the phases, I realized that everything will happen in its own time. So if I'm trying to sleep train my child, it may take a little while, but when they're ready, they will get it. They will understand it. If they're needing to give up their passy, or you wanting them to give up their passy, for whatever reason, they will do it when they're ready. Crawling and walking, they'll do it when they're ready. So just knowing that there's all those developmental milestones, but not worrying if they don't get there, because we all grow up, we all grow on a different trajectory than the next kid or the next person. And so I'm trying to remind myself that everything will happen in its own time when it comes to development. And then my last one is just remembering that me and my husband, we know our kid best. And there are a million voices out there in the world, especially with social media, me included. Here I am talking to you. You may have your own ideas. But there's a million voices out there telling you what you should do, what you shouldn't do, what the experts say, what is best for the child. But yet at the end of the day, you know your child best, you know your family best, and what culture it is that you're wanting to create in your home, what things that are of value to you and your spouse and your family. And so just to stand firm to those and not feel like you have to bend and sway to everything that's out there. I'm gonna be a little controversial. Right now, there's a pretty big trend out there to not use the word no, which I understand in a lot of ways. I think it is great to be able to give your kids, to say yes to your kids as much as possible, or give them options versus just saying no all day long. But at the end of the day, when your kid is about to whack another kid, with a toy or something, a no is a completely appropriate response to that. No, no, no. And I just think about, over the centuries, there have been completely decent human beings, and actually amazing human beings, that have been raised hearing the word no. So to me, that is not something I'm going to stress out about in making sure I never use that word. That's just not something that I'm going to put a lot of effort into. I do want to put a lot of effort into helping my kid make choices that will serve them well over their life, helping my child see what their options are, and then teaching them the values that we have for them. But I'm not going to stress about the do's and don'ts of using the word no. Along with, like, you know your family best, you know your kid best, and you have values that you want to pass on to your kids, or things that you want to be true of your family. One way to think about that is your kids will learn to love what you love. And I'm not saying like every super specific interest, because each human is their own person. They have their own gifts and talents that God's given them, interests that God's given them. But I just think of the things that I absorbed from my family that I've learned to love because that's what my family loved. For example, music and food and quality time and just having lots of fun, travel. Those are all interests that I gained from my family because it's what they loved. And so similarly with you and your family, don't feel like you are just at the whim of your child. They're the one controlling everything, which sometimes it does feel that way. But as far as like listening to like the music you listen to, or the way you decide to spend your free time, or just stories and movies that you introduce them to, like what you and your spouse love together, they will learn to love that too. One specific thing I can think of is music. My dad is a musician. He, not as his day job, but he is an accomplished guitar player, and he loves music. And so I grew up watching my dad not only play music, but just like rock out to music in the car, or like love to go to concerts or things like that. And I just picked up a love for music as well. I'm not as talented as he is in playing or anything like that, but I just get that same thrill of listening to music like he does. And I think that's because I watched him enjoy it. And so just think about those things. What are those things for you? What are things that you really enjoy and value that you want to that's just who you are, and you might pass it on to your children. So let that be, I hope that's an encouragement to you to just live your life with your interests, and then just let your kids watch and absorb whatever it is that you love. So there you go. Those are just a few of the lessons that I've learned in my first 2 years of being a parent that I think will apply to men no matter what kid I have. Not trying to be super specific with myself, but just really they're more about my personality, my approach to just being a parent no matter what kid I have. So I hope that can be an encouragement to you guys as you are maybe thinking about bringing more kids into your family, or just managing the ones that you have. Just take some time to reflect on the things that you have learned personally, and that are of a value to you that you can apply to being a parent and raising children. It is no easy task, like I said before. It is a very precious task, and one that is worthy of a calling, but it is not easy. Before I close out this video, I am going to show you my delicious protein balls. Seriously, these are so delicious. They're pretty much just oats, peanut butter, honey, flaxseed, and then I add a little vanilla and mini chocolate chips to mine. They're really good. Oh, and collagen powder. I add collagen powder to mine as well. Super basic recipe. I was gonna put one on the blog, and I might still, just because I have a ratio that I think works best. But there's a lot of recipes out there like this, so find one that works for you. This is my favorite. And then some of you have been asking for a bump shot. So here we are, 36 weeks with twins. Feeling pretty big. Every day is different. Yesterday I was feeling like I didn't have any energy to do a thing and my body hurt so bad. But then today I actually feel like I have energy to do things. My body doesn't hurt that much at all. So it's really, every day is different. So if you feel that way too, just know you're not alone, and give yourself plenty of grace and time to rest on the days that you do feel like crap. And then when you have a great day, just embrace it. Yeah, see what you can get done or see what you can enjoy, what things you could do to have fun on those days that you are feeling great. So another tip for you. Okay, well, I do have a few more videos up my sleeve. However, like I said, we're kind of down into the wire of crunch time, so I'm not sure what I will actually be able to get out. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you are brand new to my channel, please stick around by hitting the subscribe button. I make videos on whole food cooking, simple living, hospitality, and right now it's pretty heavy focused on being a twin mom or a soon-to-be twin mom. I'll sprinkle those things in there as well. So hope you guys are having a good day. Bye.